Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 25 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series, where today I'd like to, if I can, set up some automation related to ore processing. So previously we've been kind of relying on a rather slow and manual approach to ore processing, aka this setup, and I'd like to create a new setup to do ore processing, kind of like you saw on the screen as I started the video here. Now, Mechanism adds several ore processing options. If you do the full suite of ore processing with Mechanism, it's pretty complex, but also fun to set up. And we'll get you a massive 5x ore processing, which means that for every iron ore that you place in, you will get 5 iron ingots out. Every copper ore turns into 5 copper ores, etc., etc. However, you don't need to start with that. You can start with doubling or tripling or quadrupling before you get to quintupling if you want. And that's where I'm going to start, is tripling. So we're going to start with tripling ore, and then we'll see if we get into the quadrupling and quintupling as time goes by. So in order to get this going, there's a few things we're going to need to set up, and we're going to just note them now. So first off, I need a purification chamber. That's going to turn copper ore into purified copper clumps, which can then be crushed in a crusher into dirty copper dust. And then they need that dirty copper dust to be enriched in an enrichment chamber into pure copper dust, which can then just be straight up smelted in whatever you want. We could use the energized smelter if we wanted to go full-blown Mechanism, and that's probably what we'll wind up doing, if we're being honest, right? So that's the plan to make ore tripling from Mechanism. Right? Now, to go along with that, however, you might notice that there's one other resource that we didn't talk about yet, and that's oxygen. So oxygen is going to be needed for the purification chamber. We're going to need a steady supply of oxygen from Mechanism. There's a couple ways we can get that. The most simple and most direct route is going to be the Electrolytic Separator, and all we got to do is pump in water, which is pretty good to me. Right? Because water is infinite and free. That'll be split using a decent amount of power, but not too bad, into hydrogen and oxygen. We only really need the oxygen for this piece, but hydrogen can be used by a lot of stuff, and we will be doing that in the future. So why don't I start crafting these machines now, and then we're going to come back after that's all done. I'll probably use some auto crafting. I'll probably teach the refined storage system how to make things like steel casings and basic control circuits and some of the stuff we're going to need to get all this going. And also steel for that matter. So I'll be back in just a minute once I've got that done and covered. So a couple quick notes. One, I set the extractors here to extract stacks at a time rather than single items at a time. Cool. 2, I set this guy to sort stacks at a time, because without these upgrades, when you do something like this, it takes a while. So with the stack upgrades and the speed upgrades, it'll do stacks at a time, and speed makes it run more operations per tick. So long story short, as we get more and more auto-crafting and faster auto-crafting here, this thing's going to need to dump into the refined storage system that much faster. I also upgraded my coal and redstone guys to both have speed and energy upgrades in them, so that I could make things like the Enrichment Chamber turn into the Purification Chamber that much easier, right? So I can just hit this. Man, we're still low on iron. I keep smelting my iron because I need more iron, and I keep needing, to be fair, I just did a whole bunch of upgrades that need a whole bunch of iron, but I keep wanting to not process my iron yet because I'm trying to ore triple it, but I need to process it in order to get to the ore tripling stage. So we'll get there. I just keep needing to do this by hand, and it's killing me, and I'm looking forward to having this automated so I don't have to do it by hand, because I never made any more of these dudes, so I keep moving the integral components and the Flux linkage amplifiers and all that stuff from one machine to the next so that they can process all my ore very quickly, right? But anyway, like this guy now, when I hit start on this, look how much faster this process is. Like boom, 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 done. Love it. Love it. And there's my first stage of the game, which is the Purification Chamber. Nice. Wow, are you really that out of power? You seem like you're pretty low. You do seem like you're pretty low, buddy. I should really think about charging you up. I'll let that charge for a bit. So made the Purification Chamber. Gonna make the crusher. Need a couple buckets of lava. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, because we've got infinite lava downstairs somewhere. That's right. It's not right next to my thing yet. But I'm trying to show you guys that I've ramped up a bunch of the automation, a bunch of the processing right? So as I do this, and we say we want a crusher, and I control click this guy, he'll start, and he'll start making steel and whatnot for this stuff. At least I would expect him to. Are you done? Yeah, you have a steel casing already. All right, cool. That was super quick. Enrichment Chamber we're gonna definitely want. So start that dude crafting. Where are you? Do we still have like steel ingots from before? Is that what's happening? That must be what's happening. Yeah. So Enrichment Chamber, cool. Energized Smelter, control click that dude, and he should be cool. And then Electrolytic Separator. I just need you to know how to make an electrolytic core, which I'm going to teach because this is one of those things that you make a lot. Sometimes-ish a lot, maybe not a ton, but still. Now, you already know how to make gold and osmium, but I think iron dust is probably a good thing to also know how to do. So I think you knowing how to make that in a crusher is a good idea. So if I search for... you don't know where the crusher is. Yeah, you're a crushing factory now. That might be why. These guys generally, yeah, crushing factory. That's what I was looking for. So anyway, electrolytic separator, control click, and start, and everybody's going to process nice and quick. Nice, right? Loving it. Loving it. All right. So that's all the stuff we need to get going from Mechanism to make ore tripling happen. So let's go downstairs and look at it. Now, the other thing we might want to have from Mechanism, we probably want tanks for gas. So that would be these dudes, basic chemical tanks, which I'm going to go ahead and teach it how to make, because why not? I mean, it's a quick recipe that you pretty much never need any like, you're always going to have osmium ingots and redstone dust. You're never crafting those. But still, whatever. The other thing you're going to want is pressurized tubes. I'm going to teach you how to make the advanced version of these. Because it's just nice to have. So pressurized tubes is how you transfer gases around. Most things in modded Minecraft, there's items, fluids, and energy. Mechanism has its own type of resource, a gas, and that is completely different from fluids and everything else. So you need your own system for it. Now I noticed that XNet can handle the transferring of gases from one location to another, which is pretty cool, to be fair. And we're going to need another gold crafter, I think. Yes, I do. I do think that's a thing. We're gonna need another one of. I mean, I should consider. Is that? Oh, that's just a regular crafter. So what's a diamond crafter look like? Oof, expensive. Wow, 4 blocks of netherite. Wow, that is expensive, isn't it? That is definitely expensive. So let's look at downstairs, where, pray tell, we can. Hey, wrong location. You're supposed to go there. Decide to put the ore processing. And I think along this wall might not be a terrible idea, right? So what we could do is we could run some kind of power system down, right? So I can get my universal cables. And I really think it might not be a bad idea to consider, let's set up wireless too right now. Should we do that? Like the wireless crafter? I think that would be really cool to do. Let's do that. Let's do refined wireless. So I want the wireless crafting grid. I'm distracting myself, but that's not uncommon for me, right? So we're gonna need some kind of grid. Where's like the proper grid? That's the one thing I hate when they add, let's see, control click, hit all the starts. When they add colored variants of things, it's always impossible to find the right crafting recipe in JEI. It's rough. It's rough. Modded Minecraft problems, right? Am I right? So if we want a crafting grid, we're going to want you guys, start, and now we can upgrade you to a crafting grid. And then you can turn into a wireless crafting grid. Start. And there you go. Boom. So that's stage 1. Step 2, wireless transmitters. We're going to want the wireless transmitter. So control click that. I love the control click functionality. It really completely changes the game of refined storage. Completely changes how that operates, right? And then, let's keep refined wireless. I believe the only other thing we might want now is range upgrades. Let me get like 10 of those. Oh, we're missing a lot of the iron that we're going to need for that to happen. So let's just pop this dude. Let me get this guy out of here. Wow, you're nice and full again? Beautiful. So you come with me, wireless doohickey. You're going to chill right here for the time being. Wireless transmitter, 16 blocks. So does that mean I might need to do something like click you on the controller? And now we're cool. Look at that. Booyah! Wireless crafting capabilities. That's what's up. Right? Now, it only has a 16 block range at the moment. So, like, stray much beyond our base as it sits right now. And you will have no wireless transmitter in range. But, I mean, that'll be enough for the start. And then once we get ore tripling in place, we can throw range upgrades in this guy, and he'll work better. So, yes. Very yes on that. Now, I think I can set up the controls. Category refined. Open wireless crafting monitor. No, not wireless crafting monitor. Open wireless crafting grid. That's what I want from refined storage add-ons. Hit tab. All right, and I wanted to see what else is using tab. That should be fine. So if I hit tab now, boom, that's what's up. Now, are you still a bauble type thing? I know they're called something else. What are they called now? Curios. Curios. Are you still Curio by chance? I don't think so. I don't know how many mods have adopted the Curios API, but that doesn't matter because I don't need it in my hotbar anymore, and that's the important bit. I can just hit tab from literally anywhere, and I'm just like, oh, I need to craft something, hit tab. And I have full access to my refine. That's awesome right there. So anyway, back to automating. So let's set up a couple things. Actually, I might not want you to be here. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to move you. Is it true that you won't? Yeah, I wish you would remove him. I really do. But that's okay. We will sort it. I could go get my... I don't even need to go get, to be fair, right? So we want these cables. I think I'm going to run down here, right? And this is where I'll run my power down. Cool. I like that plan. All right, and this about, let's say, is where we want things. So the end of the line is going to be your energized smelter. That's the last thing we need to do. So remember, let's take copper ore, for example, right? It's going to start with the Purification Chamber, which needs oxygen, which we'll deal with in a minute, and that'll turn copper clumps, right? Which crusher, Enrichment Chamber, and then smelting, right? So there's your smelting. Then we're going to need the Enrichment Chamber, boom. Then we're going to need the crusher, boom. And then we're going to need the Purification Chamber, boom. And that's part of all she wrote, right? So ore goes in here along with oxygen. And what I'm going to do is, because my expectation is that this should never build out side effects, right? So like, you're never going to have things like gravel dumping out. We can just go from one machine to the next. So what I'm going to do is configure you to auto-eject on, right? And we're going to clear out all the sides from the item config, but we're going to make it so that items come in the top and go out the right. And this one will do the same thing. We'll clear it all out. You're going to come in from the left, go out the right with auto eject on. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to do, and then left and then right with auto eject on. And then you're going to do the exact same thing, left, right, auto eject on. And then I'll probably have an interface sitting right here. Now, do you see why I wanted the wireless thing? I don't have to run upstairs to get that. Boom, right? So now, dude goes in here, boom, 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 done deal. Cool? I like it. I like it. All right, so now let's talk Electrolytic Separator, right? How do I want to set this up? So I'm thinking maybe like, we could just do it like this. That would probably be cool. And what this thing's going to do is it's going to turn water into hydrogen and oxygen. And it's going to dump them out on alternate sides. So let's get 2 gas tanks. Okay, 1, 2 empty gas tanks. One of these has something in them, I thought, but maybe not. You're going to go on this side, and you're going to go on this side, and your sidedness will be such that you input on all sides. I'll make you input from the right, and this is gases, by the way, and let's say output on bottom. That sound cool? And you will... And I could just leave everything on input, it doesn't matter, but we're going to input on the left and output on the bottom, just to demonstrate the sidedness of things, right? Man, look at all this cool stuff. Infuse types, pigments, slurries, oh man, so many cool things in Mechanism. Now, the Mechanism machine, you can control for gases which side does what. So output 1 is blue, output 2 is cyan. This is a huge difference from the way the electrolytic separator worked back in 112. And this addition makes automating the electrolytic separator that much better. So it's really cool that you can do this now. And then for fluids, it can't eject fluids, so it literally accepts them from every side. So water goes in, gases come out, 1 and 2, right? So I'm pretty sure we've got this set up right now such that gases, which is cyan, I think oxygen comes out on the right, correct? Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a cable underground here to get to the purification chamber in just a minute. But first we're going to want to set up water extraction, right? So let's get a pump from, and we should set you to JEI synchronized, right? Let's get the pump from Mechanism just to demonstrate it. Now I should be able to control click you, except we're missing some iron, which means we need to go deal with that, which is a hassle, but hopefully this is the last time I have to go dump iron manually into this thing, okay? Hopefully. Hopefully. Is there anything else I need to do while I'm up here? I don't think so, right? Everything else is pretty cool. We got all the things we need? I think so. You know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get a couple buckets of water. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to definitely want that. And I feel like teaching you how to make a bucket is not a bad idea. And adding you down here to the gold crafters setup, that should be cool. All right, so now I can come over here and say, hey, can I control click a pump yet? Start, and that's beautiful. Nice. Everything's coming to life, doing all the automation that they're supposed to do, and then pump should be ready. I'm not quite sure why it didn't make the bucket, but meh. Alright, so the pump, I'm going to make him underground, right? Because the cool thing that the pump does is he outputs above himself. Yes, I'll take some extra iron. Have you seen how low on iron I am? Right, so the pump outputs above himself. So if I put you here, I can then put energy in here, and he should be getting RF. He auto-outputs above. So see how there's no sidedness configuration over here? And what I'm going to do is a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of boom, 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 boom. Now that should completely run, and that's cool. Now I personally don't love the sound showing recent sounds. Tile machine, electrolytic separator. I don't like that sound. I think it just, for some reason, it's like grating on my ears. But you can see already we're filling up with plenty of water. The electrolytic separator is making oxygen and hydrogen. I'm going to configure this guy to dump excess hydrogen. Now I could just do that like that, or I could come over here and tell this guy to dump excess. What that means is, as soon as we fill up to 64 buckets of hydrogen, we're going to start voiding automatically any more hydrogen that comes in. The reason we want to do this is because we want to make sure any hydrogen that shows up, eventually what will happen, because we're using oxygen and we're not using hydrogen yet, eventually what will happen is we will fill up on hydrogen, and then the machine will stop running because it doesn't have anywhere to put the hydrogen, and then the oxygen won't get produced and we'll run out of oxygen. We don't want that to happen. So we want to avoid any excess hydrogen gets produced so that the oxygen can keep running. Now if we want, we can throw speed and energy upgrades into this thing, which we probably do. So let's go ahead and see if I can make 8 of each with the iron that I decided to get. We're missing 1 iron ingot. That's okay. Missing 1 iron ingot. That's okay. It might be okay now, because I don't think we've actually finished processing all the iron that I put in there just yet. Cool. So if we were to throw mechanism upgrades into this bad boy, and remember you can click them into your machines, like so. This guy's now running a little bit quicker, and he's producing hydrogen and oxygen a lot faster. See? And the hydrogen's going to fill up, and the oxygen's going to fill up. And remember, you get twice as much hydrogen as you do oxygen. So yet another reason to worry about overflow, right? So now you'll notice once this guy fills up because dumping excess is on, we're going to continue to be empty on hydrogen. All that hydrogen is just doing a great job of disappearing. We should also note that this thing is using 631,000 RF a tick. That's a lot of RF. Holy cow. Really? Well, I don't know if that's what it's using. Let's be clear. That's how much it needs to fill up its buffer. But it's definitely using more than the 8,000 RF a tick that advanced universal cables can get us. So maybe that much speed was not a good idea. Let's drop those speeds down to 4. Does that sound good? Now, eventually the oxygen will fill up, right? And once the oxygen fills up its internal buffer, then it'll stop running and stop using RF a tick. See, right now it's using 2,500 RF a tick. That's a lot. But now it's using 0. And that's why we void hydrogen, but don't void oxygen. Because I don't want to be wasting 2,500 RF a tick constantly for no reason. Okay, so now let's get mechanism, gas, pressurized tubes. Let's just get 8 of them. That should be fine. That should craft relatively quickly. We just need some of this and some of that. And let's also get tier upgrades, whatever they're called. I always forget what they're called. Basic tier installers. That's what we're going to want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that enough, or did I have 5? I forget. Yeah, 4. So that should be cool. And we're going to make sure you're all split on. And you should remember your side configs when we upgrade you. And now we should be good to take the advanced pressurized tubes here, and we're going to run them. You'll notice that this thing turned back on because now the gas is pouring into here, right? So now we've got oxygen in the purifying factory, which is cool. It's filling up these tubes as well. And then, wow, that is just filling up a lot of stuff, isn't it? I guess those tubes hold a lot of gas. I don't know how much, but clearly a large amount. It's all right. He'll make more oxygen for us. Man, he is just cooking. Man, how much gas do you advanced pressurized tubes hold? Goodness gracious. That is really just a lot, isn't it? At some point he'll fill up, I presume. I wish the tooltip would tell me, but it's just not. Oh well. We'll just have to assume that it's actually filling itself. Anyway, back to work. Let's make iron, shall we? Let's test it out. So we're testing the system now. We're going to throw some iron ore into the basic purifying factory. Boom. He should automatically be split, and these guys will be processed, and then dumped, and then dumped, and then dumped, and then boom. Now, we'll speed these up with speed upgrades at some point, but we should be cognizant of our power situation, right? We don't have an unlimited amount of power. Look how fast we're running power here. That's actually a little concerning to me. Are you going to fill up with oxygen or what, buddy? I'd really like to see you fill up with oxygen. 10,000 RF a tick. Oofs. So everything's behaving itself, which is nice. See? And we're processing, and we're smelting, and then we're exporting. Beautiful. I'd really like to see you fill up your internal buffers. This blue looks like deeper than it was a minute ago, so I assume these pressurized tubes. How much do you hold? Advanced pressurized tubes. Capacity 64 buckets per block. Holy cow. Each one of these block spaces holds as much as this. What I'm going to do is remove all the speed upgrades. We're going to save a little bit of power here. He's now using 0 RF a tick. Or using 160 RF a tick, I'm sorry. This guy's using 240 and 60 and 60, and 60. So we're definitely using a lot of RF. Probably more than we're producing at the moment. Even factoring in all this stuff. Hey look, my refined fuel's coming along nicely though. Though we are, in fairness, out of everything. So we're out of the resources for refined fuel. Aside from the bitumen. How do we do on bitumen here? Not bad. One of these machines is definitely whiny too. I'm gonna search for mechanism. Let's mute you. Ah, it's much better. Aha! Enrichment Chamber. Shh. Crusher 2. Mechanism machines, some of them have really cool sound effects, others are a little bit annoying. So being able to mute them is cool. If you want to just mute the individual machines, you can also make the muffler upgrades, which will do the same thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to snag my advanced exporter that we had made previously. And I'd like to get him set up to automatically export any and all ores that I feel should be here. So let's get our cables set up. Bada bing. All the dire wire. Alright, cool. So now what I'm going to do is grab all my ores, which we are short iron because I just dumped it all in there. But I'm going to grab one of each. So like copper for sure, osmium for sure. Can uranium be processed this way? It can. So I'm going to do uranium, right? Why not? Tin for sure. Lead, I presume, can be? Yes, lead can be. Gold can be. Nickel, I presume, can be. Silver can be from thermal. Yes, right? Maybe not. Nickel actually cannot. Nickel I don't see being doable. How about silver? Is silver doable this way? Also does not appear to be on the list. So we might need to dump these guys into only ore doubling setups. How about bauxite? Definitely not. Okay. So I'm just going to do this, and that should add them all to that, and he'll start exporting uranium and osmium and all the other things. Cool. And when that's done processing, we'll circle back and see what more needs to be done. But at least for now, we're in good shape. We'll add iron here in a minute, too, once I find a little bit more iron by chance laying around. None immediately available. All right, I'll find some iron and add that in a bit. So that's how we're going to set up auto smelting. Not too shabby. So let's get an induction smelter hooked up here for automation purposes, because I would like to real quick automate thermal these doohickeys, right? So let's go up here. We might need to add the multi-servo press as well, but we'll find out. How are we for patterns? Can we just have a few more patterns? Because I'm totally going to need more patterns. Good, I can. I'm glad to hear that I can have more patterns. That's very nice. So let's just get these guys added real quick, and then we'll be cool. So you need to go in here. You're going to need to know how to make hardened glass, which is going to be a thermal doohickey recipe, right? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, right? You can't... do you ore dictionary with nether quartz? You do. You do. Well, you don't know ore dictionary with it, but it's a valid recipe, actually. So let's make sure that he knows that nether quartz is also a way to do that, right? Because that works, right? It's either dust or nether quartz itself. Cool. And then you are going to be this. I kind of want like the right thing in there. Now, can you also be the metal version of lead? Yeah, 3 lead. I'm going to want you to know how to make diamond dust. Can you be made in a crusher? You totally can. Sweet. Sweet. So you guys are going to go here and here. This one's actually a manual crafter, dude. Okay. And then the other thing we want is aluminum is going to be what? Oops, wrong thing. Boom. That's cool. It's faster to just drop it in there than try and figure out, you know. Okay, so aluminum gears are going to be this. How are those patterns doing? Not too shabby. We also want to know how to make the nuggets. I'm just going to do the nugget recipe rather than, I think, using the machine to make it. Like, yes, it saves me an iron nugget, but do we really care about one iron nugget? And yes, it adds up over time. But also, do we really care? Because I kind of don't. If I'm being 100% honest, I kind of don't. Right? So that's also going to be in this dude. So you're my next to do. Signalum is also going to be in this dude. Man, I keep putting in the wrong pattern grid. It's killing me. Okay. That's looking cool. And you're going to be a pattern. That's that. That's that. Everything else is cool. Now for you. And gold gear from titanium mod. Okay, cool. Well, let's get the invar first. Right? And then the gold gear can be that. So it's going to be you. No, not you. Everything but you, right? If I'm not mistaken, that should be fully automated now. So now if I want thermals... Can I have 2 of these, please? Why, yes, I can. Beautiful. Beautiful. How cool is that? Autocraft all those things, please, and thank you. We'll see if we get into a problem with blocking mode, by the way, now. Now, also for you, I wouldn't mind some auxiliary dynamo reaction dudes. So let's teach you how to make those real quick. Auxiliary reaction chambers should be that. And so you are going to need this. So let's get a crafter on here. With an importer. Okay, because we need to know how to make signalum plates, right? Which is going to be this pattern. So we want the importer, and we want the crafter, and we want you here, and we want you blue, orange, and importer, and that. Beautiful. And you're cooking properly? Nice. We haven't run into a problem yet with blocking mode type stuff. So that's kind of cool. I guess we'll find out if we run into like a race condition with blocking stuff kind of deal. I'm hoping we don't, but I guess we'll find out if we do. Real quick, because we're waiting for a lot of crafts from you, let's go ahead and do this. Wouldn't be a terrible idea, right? And maybe even you. And maybe I should tell you Flux Linkage Amplifiers, right? Flux Linkage Amplifiers. I should probably have you on the to-do list. So you need to know how to make this. Wow, you need to know how to make all the things for this. This. And that. Cool. So you're going to go in here. And everybody else goes down here. So now... I should be able to make 6 of these. We're missing some sand. Really? We're out of sand? How did I do that wrong? I'm thinking it's you. Because I want to say this doesn't have a disablement for exact mode. Right? That doesn't allow you to disable... Flux Linkage Amplifier. We want 6 of those now, right? So we're missing lead ingots. Really? Are we like really out of lead? Wow, we really are out of lead. All right, well, at least now we know. We'll deal with that in a bit. But at the very least, you should have made 2 of these for me. Nice. Can you make one more? Yeah, you can. Please do. That's going to go into the furnace. Probably. All right, so you do that, and you do this, and that bumps us up to 160 RF a tick, which is cool. And we're still losing a lot of RF, to be fair, as we process all these resources. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You're still at using 160. I could add energy upgrades here. Honestly, I really could. But we'll see. We'll see. It's pretty cool though. Can't believe we're that low on lead. It's crazy to me, right? Not that crazy though. Alright, I think it's wrapping up point. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Wow, that crafted so fast. I love it. Do the thing, Redstone Furnace. Can I also real quick get 3 of these dudes? Oh, that also needs lead. Alright, whatever. Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time. I'm going to go mining between episodes, obviously, because we need more of all the things. Definitely more lead, to be fair. We'll have about a stack of lead when we're done processing this, because remember, we're tripling it, but still, that's not quite enough. I wonder what Y-level lead's found most at. I don't think there's any mod that really tells you. But we'll have to wrap up here. So Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time. That's a lot of ore processing and automation, which I think is pretty cool. And hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing it. A nice little walkthrough of how to do all these things with Mechanism and Refined and several other cool things that hopefully helped you guys learn how to do some good stuff. All right, guys. Take it easy.